Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I am giving you guys a tutorial on how to turn your sketches into a digital painting. I've posted a lot of sort of drawings like this where it's an actual picture of a sketch or a drawing with pencil, but rendered digitally. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. But before we get into it, let's hear a quick word from today's sponsors, Cricut. Today's video is brought to you by Cricut. Cricut creates smart and easy to use cutting machines that allow you to personalize anything to the next level. Stuff like water bottles, stickers, plant pots, and even clothing. With this vast range of uses, Cricut has become many people's biggest help in running their small businesses, and I'm definitely one of them. I use my Cricut Maker 3 to make most of the things that I sell at conventions and on my online shop. With it, I can make stickers with different finishes to suit different designs, make packaging for other items, and of course to personalize stuff wherever possible. Cricut machines are not printers, they are cutting and making machines. So I usually print out my designs separately and use my Cricut to make them into their final polished versions. Like this, I can ensure a uniform, consistent quality on all my products on my shop for all my customers. This goes for all materials as well, such as everything from paper to card to vinyl and even iron-on projects. As you guys know, I work from my bedroom, which really doesn't have that much space for anything, but my Cricut just kind of takes up one little shelf with all of the tools being inside it, very compact, very cute color, and it just looks really nice on a shelf. For uploading, you're gonna have to upload two different images for a sticker sheet design. So you're gonna want to upload the cut lines and the printing layer. You're gonna want to select both of those images in your upload page and add them both to your mat. You have to eyeball it a little bit and overlay your cut shapes over your design layer. And then I make sure that my cut lines layer is on basic cut over there in the operation tab, and my printing layer is on print then cut. So then for materials, to make the kiss cuts, you want a very light cut that doesn't go through the entire paper. And I found that the sticky note cut is actually the best one for making kiss cut sticker sheets. Once that is printed off, I'll just add it to my mat. Cricut machines are so versatile because it really doesn't matter what size of thing you're making, as long as it fits on your mat, it pretty much will cut out anything, because what it does is it just senses the guidelines around the design, which is that little black rectangle that you see around the designs, and basically it'll just cut from there. It's super smart and it'll literally cut out any project you may have and just watch it go. Super sweet and super cute, and I just love having it on in the background working. It's very mesmerizing to watch as well. I get very distracted sometimes. I also recently got the Cricut Bright Pad, and it's so convenient. It's a rechargeable light box that you can take anywhere, and it does not need to be plugged in to work. It's so handy, and the different brightness modes make tracing work just so much easier. All in all, ever since I got my Cricut machine a year ago, it's been such a breeze running my small business. I can experiment with new products and designs for my art shop whenever I want, right from the comfort of my studio. It also allows me to make more custom personalized things for one-time products for my Patreon, for example. If you'd like to learn more about Cricut and all the cool stuff you can create with their machines, head on over to their website at cricut.com. So getting back into this tutorial, I kind of just went into my sketchbook and picked out a drawing that I'm going to use for this tutorial, and it doesn't even have to be a fully polished drawing with pencil or anything, but I like to use a drawing that kind of looks a little bit more finished, because then it cuts out a lot of the digital rendering process. So I'm going with this drawing that I have here, and I'm getting my phone out and just trying to take a nice picture in good lighting. Lighting's very important, it saves you a lot of time in editing. If you want to add a little bit more spice to your picture, you can add in like a pencil or some like staging, I guess, around it. But it really just depends on the kind of pictures that you usually post on your feed and stuff like that. So I'm just taking a simple picture with sort of like a symmetric border on each side. And I took a few different versions of it from different angles, but eventually I decided to go with this version here. So it's just a straight on picture of the drawing with the pencil and shot, and that's it for our sketchbook. Next up, I got out my trusted iPad, and for this next thing, you can actually just do it on your phone, but I just got my iPad out as is and just airdropped the picture I took onto my iPad. And the next step is to open up Snapseed. Snapseed is my literal best friend with posting artwork on social media. I have a whole other video on my channel already about how I edit traditional medium paintings and sketches and drawings to make them into like art prints. I'll leave the link for that on screen right now and in the description box, but I'll give you guys a quick rundown here as well. So Smartseed is really good for editing artworks, especially using the select tool. You can select basically a color on the image and change the brightness, saturation, structure, and contrast of just that color range. It is so helpful for reducing shadows and creating basically like a blank canvas, and you can change the color of the paper that it's on as well to make it less yellowish. It's just so helpful. And basically, once I'm happy with the color correction and stuff on this image, I import that picture, that edited picture, into Procreate. And here is when we can actually clean up any imperfections, I guess. So as you can see, there's like some drawing and sketching coming in from the page to the left. So I'm literally just gonna go in with my liquify tool and my smudge tool and kind of just fix those little mistakes and make it look more clean. Because I do want the focus to be on the drawing itself and don't want people to, like, you know, be distracted by a random sketch coming in from the left. So yeah, using the smudge tool and the color pick tool and the pen, I just kind of slowly cover up any little mistakes, anything that's on the picture that shouldn't be on the picture. And basically we're just prepping the drawing to make it into a canvas. And the key thing with this is you want to make the paper as almost as white as you possibly can while still making it look like paper, you know. Basically upping the brightness as much as you can and making it as white as possible. Because we're then going to turn this picture, once it's all ready and prepped, into a multiply layer. So on your layers over there, you're going to want to click that N on your layer and scroll up to multiply. And if you guys have seen any other digital drawing tutorial by me, this is basically my line art layer. Adding colors and any other layers underneath this drawing layer will basically allow you to see the color through the whiteness of the paper. And how this works is basically a multiply layer just makes any whites transparent. And so you can see through the whiteness of this image, and anything else is just kind of turns into a darker version of that color. That is obviously the worst description of the multiply layer that I've ever given, but if you watch my digital drawing tutorial on Procreate, I think I explain it a bit better in there. But basically, in a nutshell, you can add colors underneath this layer and they will still show up. It basically just creates a line art layer that you can draw underneath and you can still see through it, and it's really helpful. So I just basically start laying down flat colors underneath this line art layer and just start kind of rendering this drawing like it was a normal digital piece. I just start kind of playing around with colors. I didn't really have much of a plan for this drawing, if I'm honest. I just kind of wanted to play around with it. And that's usually what I do with these drawings. I'll usually have like a sketch in my sketchbook that I want to turn into something a little bit more finished and digital, but I don't really have a plan for it, so I just kind of mess around with it on Procreate until I like it. So as you can see here, I'm just cleaning up the borders over there so they kind of match my initial sketch, and then I alpha lock all of the different elements of the black colors, so like the skin, the hair, the background, so that then I can render them out freely without worrying about keeping it within the lines. And I just wanted to play around a little bit with colors here, so I'm using some unusual colors for shading and lighting because I just wanted to mess around a little bit with color, and it's always fun to play around with these things. You'll see a bit later on in the drawing that if you do want to clean up any bits of pencil in the original sketch, you can always create a layer on top of the picture layer, let's call it, the line art picture layer, and anything that you draw on top of it will basically, it'll be like using a paint pen on top of a drawing. It'll completely cover it up. I usually use that layer on top to add corrections in the lines of my original sketch or covering up any imperfections that I didn't like in the sketch. It's good to add rim lighting as well because you can just go over the lines wherever you want. It's pretty fun. You can, again, it's good to just play around with it because you can do so many cool things. And that's what I'm showing you guys here. So as you can see, I'm just using that layer on top of the line art layer to kind of just cover up any textures that I don't want, and, you know, just kind of making it all look a bit more cohesive in the render. You can always also go into the actual image layer and use a white brush to erase any like imperfections you don't want whilst keeping the texture, but that can change a little bit, especially if you've got like contrasting shadows in your picture. You'll have to like specifically color pick the color in that area. So I usually just like going over the top with it because I have a little bit more control over it. Plus, it just adds that extra layer of like digital drawingness on top of the sketch. And you guys know I love mixing mediums and like mixing textures between mediums. So this is obviously super fun for me in that department because I get to have both worlds of having the cool textures of a drawing with a pencil and then adding in the smoothness and the cool color transitions of a digital software. So it's just really a fun contrast of mediums that is just fun to work with. So especially for the eyes, I will go in on the layer on top of the line art to just create the exact color gradients that I want, and also to add the light reflection on the eyes. And yeah, it's a great way to just render drawings on top of a sketch, basically. And you could totally completely cover the whole sketch with digital painting if you wanted to. I just really like keeping the texture of pencil sometimes coming through the painting. I just think it's funky. But yeah, all in all, what we're doing is just painting over a sketch. It's really nothing crazy. The more fun part of this is turning your drawing photograph into a multiply layer and playing around with colors underneath it. That's usually the kind of novelty of it, because other than that, it's pretty straightforward. So especially for the hair here, I ended up painting over the entire sketch just because I had filled in the sketch with just the same pencil cross-hatching throughout the whole thing. So I hadn't added any lighting or any, locks in the hair to separate them and add lighting to it. So I obviously had to render it separately on digital. But I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. It's nice and cute, and it's got that cool little effect of oh, it's a picture but it's painted digitally. What? Messed around a little bit with whether or not I was going to add a border on top of it, but I ended up just not doing that. And then finally, you can just sign it with a digital stamp. Again, I have a whole video on that on my channel, how to do that, and that's it. That's how it turned out. Super fun. Here's the layers and like the layers that I did, so you can see where the drawing layer is and then the layers I did on top of it and the layers I did underneath it, just to kind of see the order in which I did my layers for this one. This is the side-by-side comparison of the initial sketch and the finished product, and that's usually how I'd post it on my social media. Just kind of showing people the transition of it. But yeah, that was it. If you do try out this technique, let me know how you find it, if you enjoy it, and I'd love to see your guys' renditions. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you to Cricut for sponsoring today's video, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye!